Three, two, one.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE. Welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what I did to my IQ recently after taking a massive bash to the head and gave myself concussion. I'm wondering if this is how flat earthers are created, by repeated concussions. Because concussion's really debilitating. I've not been able to focus, to think straight. I pretty much forgot how to type on my keyboard for an entire day. Yeah, but thank you very much for all the kind words that everyone's given me, and I'm sorry if I'm not quite coherent because I'm still a little bit fuzzy. Let me show you what actually happened. We got our kids one of where is it? One of these for the door frame. It's called a gorilla gym, and you can attach swings and stuff to it. That's not my child, obviously. This is a stock photo. But they've got these little carabiner bits, metal bits that hang down that you attach it on, and just at the right height for me as I'm hobbling about with my walking stick to smack the back of my head on. Really, really hard. Completely passed out, and then woke up the next day and couldn't focus at all. So yeah, concussion sucks, but thank you for the kind words, and don't buy kids toys because they're dangerous, apparently. Right, so Monday night, that means we're going to have a debate. I say debate, and I do this because we all know that it's not really a debate, but we've got a good one tonight. We have an ex-flat earther versus a flat earther. Ex-flat earther, Seek Truth, Speak Truth, who was converted and paid off by conspiracy cats, versus the flat earther Eftupworld, who says space is real, just physics is different. Guys, how you doing? Seek Truth, Speak Truth, how are you?
Very well, mate. Yep. I can confirm that the concussion does lead to flat earthism. So yes, try not to knock your head too many more times, mate.
Yeah.
Should only need one, though. Shouldn't need more than one. I'm just kidding.
I
Good to see you guys.
I still don't think the Earth's flat yet. I still don't think the Earth's flat. F.World, welcome back to the channel. How are you doing?
Good. Doing great, Craig. I'm glad your head is less fuzzy. I'm hoping that it'll clear up pretty soon here.
Yeah. I thought it was important that if I was going to moderate this debate today, that I had some facepalm protection. Luckily, someone sent me this, a massive FTFE plushie. This is basically a prototype for something that's going to be able to be bought quite soon, but also works very handily as excellent facepalm protection. So yeah, this is going to be very handy for the debates that I moderate and I host. Right, so what's going on tonight is a flat earth debate, and the format is they each get 2 minutes to introduce themselves and state their position. Then they get 10 minutes to present evidence for their case, and then they have a 1 hour discussion and then some questions from the audience. Pretty standard stuff. We agreed beforehand that Seek Truth, Speak Truth would go first. So STST, over to you. Why don't you take 2 minutes, introduce yourself and state your position.
Hello. Yep. Hello, my name's Seek Truth, Speak Truth, and I'm everybody's second favourite ex-Flat Earther. Thanks to Ranty. Welcome back, Ranty. That was a little joke there. But jokes aside, no, I realise, I've even got notes. Look, guys, I'm being really serious tonight. I realise Flat Earth is nonsense. So I've got a channel, I expose the nonsense, and I've been asking for a debate for a while, and Eftupworld has stepped up, and FTFE has been kind enough to accept, well, obviously, offer his platform. And thank you very much, mate.
No worries.
And yeah, that's me. I'm here to rock and roll.
All right, excellent. Eftupworld, would you like to take 2 minutes, introduce yourself, and state your position for us?
Sure. I am. My name's Joe Hill, and my channel's Eftupworld, just like one word. And I like to pay attention to reality in a way that I usually didn't, or actually I didn't at all for my whole life, because I become aware of certain things that we all seem to kind of believe the opposite of what we actually experience in a lot of cases. So I say the Earth is stationary and still and not moving or rotating. And I also say that the surface of the Earth, although it has mountains and hills and valleys, but the general shape of the whole Earth is that it's a plane, that it's a flat, generally flat surface, like the surface of water when it's at rest. I believe that to be flat, and not taking a curve shape that would make a sphere. And I think we can explain this quite well. I'm glad that Seek Truth, Speak Truth, if I said that right, that I saw you in a chat. I think it was over on Conspiracy Cat's channel, and you were saying that you wanted to debate, and I'm like, oh, I'd love to debate, because I think, well, it'll also be interesting because you have maybe looked into flat Earth possibly more than others because you were a flat earther or whatever, maybe. So it could be interesting of a debate.
All right, cool. Awesome. So, like I said, the next part is, those are the two guys. I will make sure the channels are linked in the description. I might not have done it yet because my brain is still quite fuzzy. So what we're going to do now is we're going to let Seek Truth, Speak Truth have 10 minutes to present evidence for his position, which is that the Earth is a globe, rotating, not flat at all, even though he used to think that. I'm so glad he came back to sanity, or at least Conspiracy Cats, converted him somehow. Money, I guess, was exchanged hands. But STST, over to you. 10 minutes to give your evidence.
Cool. You know, it was the ching FTFE. He paid me off, so like the rest of us. Obviously, we have to keep this game carrying on. So, of course, ex-Flat Earther. I'm joking, but I mean, basically, I'm talking to the debater as well as the audience and maybe people on the fence. I'm an ex-Flat Earther. I had a low level of understanding, and it's not to put people down. It is just that some people know more things about certain things than others, and I thought that I knew more and had more knowledge about things than I did, and got swept up away in quite an easy way of believing suddenly that you're quite knowledgeable about a certain subject, and you can twist people up in knots by basically actually making up words because you don't know how to counteract them. There is so much evidence for the globe Earth that I actually thought what I'll do is highlight the lack of evidence for a flat and stationary Earth, because I think that can highlight really the globe has been proven. It was 2,000 years ago. There are certain things that make flat Earth impossible. A few simple things that actually you don't need maths, you don't need science to actually comprehend. It's not about obviously believing you're right, believing you're wrong. It's about kind of accepting, might I be wrong? Because people obviously thought, I'm wrong about the globe. So I always ask a flat earther, please question yourself back. And did you make the wrong decision? There is no flat earth map. That is the biggest red herring out there possible. And people say, oh, that doesn't matter. It really, really does. It should be the most simple thing. If the earth was flat and say the shape of a dinner plate, you should be able to scale-wise map exactly the planet. It should be the most easy, perfect map possible. There is not one in existence. They are globe projections. No working model, which contains star observations, the way we observe the sun, the way we observe the moon, dependent on the northern or southern hemisphere. They flip 180 degrees totally. Impossible with a small and local moon. We have no distance to the sun on a flat earth, no distance to the moon on a flat earth, no explanation for eclipses, for tides, no proof that the atmosphere must be contained. There is no proof that atmosphere must be contained. No explanation for the southern and northern hemisphere star trails. Again, massive, massive red herring. If the earth was flat, you should never be able to look outwards and see the same star trails, say somebody in Chile, and then you've got someone in Australia, both looking south, looking at the same stars. Impossible if the earth was flat. Basically, from the start, flat earth is reverse psychology. So you will be told you get indoctrinated at school, when in reality, it is that moment that you are allowing your indoctrination to start. You're accepting people on YouTube over the knowledge of, say, hundreds, if not thousands of years of observations and study. People think they, but science isn't included in they, these people that run whatever it is you think they run. Science has many bodies, many different universities, all would love to call each other out and be the one that made the new discovery. And they don't do it with flat earth or the non-motion of a flat motionless plane. So you will be told there is no measurable curvature, when in fact there actually is measurable curvature. Geodetic surveyors will measure it, and people that build, say, large bridges, etc., will take the curvature into account. So I would suggest, please go and talk to a professional in those areas. Again, we don't move, we don't spin, we have the Foucault pendulum, ring laser gyroscope, thanks Bob even, and the Yotvos effect. Yeah, I think I'll just kind of stop there, because that was kind of, yeah, just a bit of a gish gallop, but I want anybody listening on the fence to see that flat earth has absolutely nothing to back it up whatsoever. Yeah, and I'll be interested to see what Eftupworld has to say.
Okay, well, you had 4 minutes left on your time, so that's good that you didn't need to use it all, because it's really not hard. But I'm not in this debate. Shut up, Craig. Eftupworld, 10 minutes, over to you. Your evidence for the Earth being flat and stationary, non-rotating.
First, I need one extra point for you being on his side. No, I'm just kidding. So there's a few things that I think, okay, evidence. What is evidence? Well, I and Craig, you know this, we've talked about this before. I consider the observations that we make, and when I say we, I mean everyone makes certain observations that are undeniable, and sometimes we use equipment or instruments to give us a clearer idea, like a tape measure, rather than just eyeballing something. You use a tape measure. And I understand that is a kind of evidence. Like we'll just say like Bob's gyroscope and the 15 degree per hour drift. Okay, that's a measurement of something. And that's a kind of evidence. But there's another kind of evidence that I consider to be much stronger, at least to me. And it has to do with reality. And let me explain. In order to present positive evidence for a flat Earth, there are some things that we need to make sure that we're aware of and understood, or make sure it's understood, that we all live on the Earth. And that's where we've always lived, is on the Earth, the ground beneath your feet. That's let me give an example, just to be clear. So if I say that I use my camera to record the motion of the sky, and that the sky is turning, because that's what happens in the viewfinder when I hit record, and you can see that the stars are moving. And Seek Truth, Speak Truth brought up star trails, like that kind of photography clearly shows us that from the Earth, and I've gotten Craig and MC Toon to admit this or agree with this, is that from the Earth, the stars or the sky definitely appears to be turning or moving over the Earth. I mean, that's so that's a kind of evidence, is what I would say. And I understand that there's an intellectual idea that it's actually the Earth that's turning and the sky's not, or whatever. That I understand that, but that's not the reality that we're actually experiencing from the Earth. But we all know, and here's why nobody should argue with that, because we all know that the constellations and the stars move each night and throughout the year, and we all observe this. So that's very important, I think. It's just a simple observation. So, and a lot of times my kind of evidence is not accepted for some reason, and it's like ridiculed, and people in the chat right now are probably making fun of what I'm bringing up, the stars turning. Okay. And I see that as intellectually lazy, because I'm not saying that the heliocentric model, the idea that the Earth turns, I'm not saying that couldn't be a possibility. That of course it could. But what I'm trying to say is that our reality that we observe and that we perceive and experience, the sky's turning above the Earth. I mean, go out tonight. I can guarantee you that the stars will be moving. So that's one reason why I think we have to be careful about how if we're going to accept evidence or not. So we all live in the same world, the Earth. We spend our whole lives here each day until we die. That's what people have done all throughout time, as far as we know of, right? We all experience the same solid ground underneath our feet. The solid ground that your chair's on right now, the room you're in, is not moving. And the idea that the Earth is rotating is something that in our heads we can come up with that idea. In our heads we can. But what I'm trying to point out is that as far as we know, from our bodies, where we perceive it, everything we perceive is from our bodies, the senses that we have. I mean, if you weren't here to perceive it, there wouldn't be any, I mean, there might be a world here and you might not be in it, but we need these bodies and these senses and perceptions in order to observe anything. So I don't like to ignore those observations. Let's see. Okay, observations that we all make. Another one is water. We all know that water, if you put it on a slanted surface, it runs down, and it's going to try to find an equilibrium, or it's going to basically become still. And when it does, it's a flat surface going across the water. And we all observe this anytime you go to the ocean and you see that horizon, you see that flat horizon. And why can I say these things? Just because they're simply true. I'm not really some guy that's pointing out anything special. I'm more maybe pointing out parts of things that we already all know, but it's easy to ignore. So a lot of times you hear relative to the Earth, the sky appears to be moving or spinning, which I could say that's true. And I think it's easy to say that that's true. Let's see. So if we wanted to look at water, I'm just going to show you a
4 minutes
lake
left.
by my house. This isn't some science experiment or something. I'm just going to have it playing in the background here. And we're going to be looking to the other side of the lake, which on the left here, it's about 9.5 miles to these houses. And you'll see in a minute. And sorry about the quality there. It's not very good. But these houses, they're 9.5 or 10 miles away. And as we go to the right, it goes up to like 12 miles away because the shore's at an angle there. And so there's obviously ice piled up and snow piled up and everything, but you can see the trees coming out of they actually come out of the bank, like the shore bank or whatever. You can see them on the other side. And I'll show you some other footage. Okay, this here, my camera is like almost touching the water. And the other side of the lake there, where we see that tree line, and you can see an antenna or like a radio tower in the middle, and those trees are something like 14 miles away from my camera, and my camera was literally touching the water. So if there is a curve on the surface within 14 miles, it doesn't really show at all when I go to this lake. Now this is a different, okay, so I'm up in the air 25 feet. And when I look across the lake here, that water tower there is a 1/4 mile from the shore. And so we're seeing the trees that are on the shore. I'll zoom in a little bit more here in a second. And that's, I think, 14 miles away. It might be a little more than that. And we get effects from when we look over a flat surface or like water. When we look over the surface of water for long distances, we get certain effects. And some of these are on your screen right now, where it appears that some of that snow appears to be floating. And I have these videos on my channel. If you wanted to search for them, but this is called Mille Lacs Lake. It's MILLELACS, I think. There's a big pile of rocks in the middle of the lake, and it gets ice on it. But the other thing I was going to maybe talk about, and I'm actually going to probably call it here, but one other thing that I'm sure we'll discuss a little bit during the conversation here is solar eclipses. And there's some interesting things I wanted to point out about solar eclipses. So,
okay,
back to Craig.
Okay, right. So you had 50 seconds left. That was well, that was definitely a presentation. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to let you two talk about anything that you like with regards to the evidence that you both brought up, and see where it goes from there. Try not to overtalk each other. You're both nice guys, so hopefully this shouldn't require much moderation on my part, which is good. But I brought my facepalm protection just in case. So
well, I'm rage quitting if anything goes wrong. So
well, 26
if all of a sudden I disappear, you'll
current,
know. No, I'm just kidding.
26 minutes is the current record. So you got 2 minutes if you want to beat that. But but no, over to you guys. I don't know if
oh, go ahead.
Over to you guys. Have as long as you need.
So, Craig, did you want to bring up something, or because I did write some things down?
I mean, just a simple question, really. So, with these observations over water, or anything really, from a foot or two above ground level, why are flat earthers amazed that you can see maybe 10-15% further than what you would imagine on a globe, when in reality, if the earth was flat, the difference would be so much more. It would be so much further that you would be able to see. And then say, obviously, with gained elevation, you wouldn't see things then say dipping down. I mean, that last sort of bit of footage you shoot, you know, when you said there was like that mound of ice in the lake, obviously we don't know any observation heights or anything, but the tree line below that in the distance was kind of below that mound, if you know what I mean. And yes, I know we have people scream, you know, anything to try and kind of get away from it. But the way perspective works, as far as I know, is nothing can drop below your eye line. If it is physically not below your eye line, it can never, ever go below it. So that is just one thing alone where flat earthers will kind of have to make up observations or new science, basically. But yeah, my main point really is why is it so fascinating that we can see 14 miles away from the beach, if you know what I mean? I don't find that fascinating.
I don't either. I mean, I just think, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, just saying, you know, I did used to find that sort of stuff amazing, but kind of once I've looked into it from the, you know, the kind of globe reality side, is there's no real footage that anybody is taking that doesn't match what the globe would predict. There's not one single image out there that you can see further than you should.
Well, and that's where I've talked with Craig and MC Toon about this, where I think that a person can choose to look at something a certain way. And I can give you an example here. Let me see if I can pull up a video here. Okay, this is this house in the center of the screen. I don't know if you can see I think you can see mine. That house is 9.5 miles away. And those 3 trees that are kind of on the left side of that house, and then there's one kind of on the right side, and where you can see the trees going down. I'll try to zoom in a little bit. See those? You can see those 3 trees, and they're actually going down almost into the water. That's like the shore bank there, and it's probably, I don't know, 5 feet in height. And there's a road right there between the lake and that house. Now, I'm not saying that, because my viewer height, the height of my camera is 25 feet above the water too. So I'm not saying that anything should really be blocked. But the point that I would make is that I don't ever see anything being blocked unless it's some kind of refraction or some kind of where the atmosphere is, you know, obviously affecting the light coming through back to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, me personally, obviously these observations, a lot of flat earthers rely on these because, you know, they take, well, sometimes amazing images and think that they're bringing things back into, you know, over the curve and things like that. But I struggle when, like now, seeing that there are actual photos of a globe, if you know what I mean. Lovely globe proof there you're showing.
Oh, that I was going to mention that a little bit. So we obviously know, I mean, I think this discussion is like this part of the discussion, like the refraction or the effects of the air, I'll say, you know, looking through the air, we can obviously tell that the air is thicker and we get more effects, refraction, the lower we go down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I believe that this is not at all proof for a globe. I think that what we're seeing here is something, that line that we call the horizon or whatever, where the sky appears to meet the water in this case. I think that line could be very far away and can only be seen like with a camera or a telescope or with the human eye. It can only be seen to a certain point. And I don't think that's like right here in this image, I don't think the sun is coming and going, hiding itself behind the earth. or the water. I think it's actually moving away. And I know you probably understand what I'm.
But then that is a cool shot though, by the way. But I mean, say somebody else then behind that, because the horizon there, I don't know, might be 5-6 miles away.
Yep.
That sun, obviously due to refraction, looks massive, but it takes 12 hours for, say, the sun to go around, sometimes, for the Earth to rotate. So that's how long.
Depending on the season or whatever.
There'd be someone else the other side of that sun, wouldn't there? If you know what I mean. And they'd look back. If the sun
should be rising for someone, It should be coming up for someone that's far on the other side of it.
But then why does it just kind of go down like that? If you know what I mean. I know there are images where it kind of looks like the sun's going away, but I think that depends on where you are on the Earth at the time. If you know
and
what I mean.
The air, a lot has to do with the air too. I've taken some shots. I don't know if I have one right here, but I've taken some shots from my drone at like 1,500 feet of sunsets, and they're interesting. Sometimes you see the bottom of the sun disappear, but it's still up off the horizon. And what I kind of think that is happening, I'll actually see if I can find a video. I'm sure I have it.
I think you're the new Ranty dude. You're the new best.
I think Ranty's pulling your guys' leg. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see if I can. Okay, how does the sun set on flat Earth? I just got to show you some of this
last night on
footage.
Stupidity is not right. If he's screwing with us, I'm not even mad because he's done it so well. Fucking
he's done a good job if he is. Yeah. I'm just gonna fast forward to see if I can find this image. Okay, here we go. If you look at this shot, that's coming up here, and I'm zooming in, so it's kind of bad, but you can see the bottom of the sun getting dark like that. That's just because of the thick atmosphere, the thick air down by the, lower to the ground. So with my drone at 1,500 feet, it's actually up above some of that. This is a neat shot here where the sun going down was kind of doing some cool refraction.
So why isn't it getting smaller though as it's going away?
I think it's probably because it's part of that other reality that we call space. That place where people think that the physics are the same, but I don't think they are. I think that there's no air and it's an entirely different world above us, and the things that we see in that world, like when the space station goes over, or any of the things that we see up there, the stars, the sun, the moon, the planets, that stuff is it doesn't have forces upon it, physical forces upon it. I don't think. That's just that's why Craig calls me the,
just
magic, what does he
force.
say? Yeah, the magic space physics or something. I think as a world, we observe the world above ours like we do. The aerospace industry is not fake. They're not faking anything. They're actually like the deepest, most involved technology that man has come up with. That's what it is. But I don't know how I got way off over there. I think the reason why the sun doesn't shrink is because I think that we're not seeing a ball of fire in the sky necessarily. I think we're seeing the sun, and I don't know how necessarily its nature is.
But there is no, obviously, like you say, you think that's how it is, but there's no actual study to show that that's the way it is there? Do you know what I mean? Whereas there is actual observation to show.
Well, we were just both observing it, and that's why you asked, I think.
Yeah.
So that's just what, if I don't understand how the sun and moon float up in the air, and just because the idea of gravity and orbits and the solar system is there, that doesn't mean to me that it's a valid idea. And I believed it my whole life too. That's just what I was born in.
But I mean, the physics that say are used to get the ISS up into orbit, etc., is going to kind of been learned from what they learned from probably watching the orbits of planets, and so that did kind of come down to the ground. So they're using space physics on Earth, and those physics still work on Earth.
Well, and I would point out some of the physics have to be ignored if we want them to be the same. And what I mean is, what is rocket fuel for? Because it has to do with the Earth being a place to us that's not moving. We're, like, the rocket is at 0 miles an hour when it starts, and it has to reach orbital velocity. So that fuel has to accelerate that rocket, or anything that wants to go into that place that we call space. It has to be moving at those speeds.
Yeah.
And I know
Can I just comment on that brilliant time lapse you've got there?
Oh, yeah.
So say, I'm not sure whether that's in the northern or southern hemisphere.
It's going counterclockwise, so they'd be in the north.
That'd be the north. So you'd be able to take an exact same one in the southern hemisphere.
Yes.
How could that possibly be explained on a flat
Well,
Earth?
it would actually be spinning. It would appear to be going the opposite way, because you have to turn around. If, like, we're facing right here, just so you know, this image I took from my backyard, which is, I'm at 45 degrees. Or Polaris is at 45 degrees above the horizon from where I'm at in Minnesota. And so
that circular motion, though, from anywhere on the globe,
anywhere in the north.
If you were on a flat and stationary plane, how do you imagine that you would see that perfect circle? You would more see like an oval in the sky, wouldn't you, if you were on a flat surface with the stars going further away, like looping above your head? You would
I think I know what you're saying. You're saying it would be like an ellipse. If you were further away from the north, it would appear to be more elliptical. And if you're closer, if you're directly under the North Star, then you'd see circles. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And that is also in the way I'm thinking is that just like the sun not shrinking in angular size as it goes away or down or whatever we want to call it, the stars, I see them to be, because you can go anywhere in the north, point your camera at the North Star, and you're going to get circles anywhere. And same thing with the south. If you pointed it at the center of rotation in the south, you're going to get circles. So the actual motion of the sky, it's not one, like, I know a lot of flat earthers think that it's a dome that's like circular shape that's just turning. And I don't think that that's what it is. I think it's moving. It's lights moving, and I'm not saying I understand the full nature of it, but
I think you've looked at flat Earth and you've kind of realised that actually it is wrong, because I wouldn't class you as like a full-blown, like, gravity does not exist, space is fake, like,
yeah, I think a lot of them are ridiculous.
Realise you cannot deny, i.e. space. So I think you're actually a little bit of the way there on your, I don't know if you ever went that whole hog, but like you say, you didn't bring up the Freemasons and all of this, you're not bothered about it. You're kind of just looking at the skies, but that really is such a good way of proving, say there's so many amateur astronomers that will all agree and make the same observation. Sorry, there's an echo. I don't know if that's me or not.
I heard it a little bit, but
yeah, it goes away every now and then. Zoom gives a random echo, then it disappears.
You can continue. Cool. I was listening.
So observing the moon, we see one side of the moon. If that was on a flat plane, small and local, you could easily be one person one side, one person the other. We would see like different phases of the moon, but whereas like when you actually travel around the globe, say north to south or whatever, you actually see the moon rotate in the sky.
You mean like from different latitudes?
Yes, and I think you can even kind of work out where you are latitude-wise just by looking at the moon.
And then that makes some sense to me. If you were in Australia and you looked at the moon, and then when it came around to somewhere in the north and you looked at the moon, it would be 180 degrees oriented differently. Like it would be turned 180 degrees. So it'd basically be
But then
upside down.
You're imagining the moon as two-dimensional then, to be able
No,
to.
I'm just saying that's what we observe. That's what we all observe is, you know, like if you were in the south and you're looking at the moon, you're going to see it upside down from how I'm seeing it in the north. And the reason for that is because you're facing the opposite direction.
Yes, but then you should see a different side of it, shouldn't you? Not just the same side.
I don't think so. I think well, personally, I think that it appears to be spherical. I'll say that right now. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it doesn't just because that goes with what I believe, but I do believe that it's like a disc of some kind, not necessarily like a sphere. And I'm gonna see if I can get a video.
A disc floating in space.
I think the sun and the moon are both
Tiny
discs,
sun.
and I think they're actually not that we can see them, but I think they're in like a I don't know what you'd call it, like a portal that they're moving through on a certain course that keeps them in line, keeps them doing the right motions.
Wait, did you just say portal?
I don't know. That's not the right word. I like that, Craig. Did you just say portal? Like a track, kind of like they're on some kind of track, I guess.
Space track.
Sure. Let's see. Oh, that's not the right video, I guess.
This isn't happening.
I don't know if you guys. Just so you know, I've got the dumpster fire burning, so. If we have to, we can resort to that. I'm just kidding.
Seek truth, speak truth. What do you say about his sun, moon portal, space track idea?
Wow.
Please challenge him on that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to applaud him for admitting that there's a space. That's a big jump in my eyes. So, well done. But I mean, is there any proof of this portal?
Is there any proof of gravity? Because they were kind of talking about the same thing. Whatever holds the moon and the sun in the places that they're in, because they're definitely on a very defined course or whatever, or the motion that we see in the sky is very designed. We can. But it's a clock for us.
They'd be kind of levitating more than anything. They're not in an orbit, are they? They're like levitating above us. So
yeah, in a way, because I don't think that they're physical, or they're not physical in the way that anything on Earth is what I think. But not that I have any other evidence that I can present. But at the same time, the other side, there's not much of an argument there too, because you're the idea of anything orbiting, or the Earth orbiting the sun, or the sun moving through the Milky Way or whatever, all those things are just ideas of how things would be. You know what I mean?
They were ideas at one point. Somebody at first thought like, wow, I wonder whether actually we are going around the sun.
Yeah.
And they were actually lambasted at first and hounded out of the church, and how dare you say anything like this?
Yeah.
And then over time, the telescope was invented, and then these observations, all these thoughts and imaginations, did actually start to come true.
Let's talk about Galileo for a second, because you mentioned telescopes.
Are we done with portals?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think we're done with portals. Sorry, Craig. But the telescope, Galileo, he noticed that he saw Jupiter, and he noticed little lights, stars going what appeared to be around Jupiter. And so that added a lot of credibility to the idea of gravity. But we still don't know what gravity is, what the cause of it is, or what it is. I mean, as far as we know it, like magnetism, we know that that's because that's a similar kind of force, like how magnets work, something being attracted to something else. What is doing that as far as with gravity? I don't know. And I don't think that we have an answer for it. So if I am talking about portals, I don't think it's that crazy. What
Well,
I'm saying, oh, go ahead.
I do just want to clarify for the audience and for you guys and partly for me, you're saying that portals is the same as gravity.
Well, it's doing the same thing, right? I think we can agree on that. What I'm saying is that whatever's holding the sun in the sky, what's holding it up? Because if we have physics on Earth, if the sun has any mass to it, it should be falling to the center of the Earth. But then we have an idea that the sun's bigger than the Earth, so the Earth's going around the sun because of gravity.
Yeah.
And what I have to point out is the reality of the situation is that we all live on the Earth, and so what we see in the sky is relative to the Earth because we live here. And so when we look up at the sky and we see the sun coming up on one side and going down on the other side, by my definition, that would be the sun moving over the Earth.
That could be, if you asked a child, what do you think is happening? They may say the sun is going around the Earth, the moon is going around, and that really was what people believed at one point. But we learn as we grow, and people actually tested it. People.
How do you test that?
Test what? The globe?
No, that like that. How do you test that? How can you show that the Earth is orbiting the sun? I mean, yeah, that the Earth. I'm confused here. That the Earth is orbiting the sun.
By observing the other planets, and what they actually do. We have 24 hours in a day. You kind of break it down, if you know what I mean. And I'm nowhere near an expert in astronomy at all.
No, I don't think we need to be experts, though.
But I know that, many people have observed our universe, whether it is NASA.
How? Let's be specific, because we are in a debate.
Yeah, literally with their eyes, watching things and seeing what happens and observing it from different places and over a long
notes
time as well.
Yeah, and I understand that, but as far as what we observe from the Earth, I think is very important, because that's where we live. So, and I'm not trying to ruin the argument by saying, well, you can think that way and I can think this way. What I'm saying is everybody here and everybody alive makes an observation, a very simple one, but we all make an observation that the stars move through the sky at night. And the sky itself appears to be moving at a pretty fast pace, it's moving pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but that is, say, a personal opinion. But then when you have...
It's an observation, though.
Bodies and fields of different people from different sectors, and they all do come to that same conclusion. I think you do have to hold a bit of weight in that. Do you know what I mean? And like we say...
Yeah. And I think we have to be careful, too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we have to be skeptical.
Because if we put it this way, we were all born on a globe, right? I'm just saying that this flat Earth debate,
and
or
that's all we have time. No, I'm kidding. Sorry,
hasn't been talked about. Yeah, hasn't been talked about till the last 5 or 6 years or whatever, very much. I mean, I know it has in the past. It's been brought up, and there's been debates like way back in history, but the point that I would make is that the reason why we're having a debate is because a lot of people have learned to not believe in that globe that we were born on.
A lot of it comes, I believe a lot of it comes from a distrust of government, where most conspiracies come from. So then you just basically distrust anything that comes from any organization you believe is classed as them. you know,
I can see that, and I'm in agreement.
But
I'm in
what I
agreement with you
always-
there.
Yeah, and what I would always try and reiterate is that there's just so many people, if you know what I mean. Like, like one reason is, why would anyone need to lie about the shape of the Earth? There is.
I don't think anyone is. And so that maybe I should mention that. I don't think that there's a
Think everyone-
conspiracy.
So you think everyone's like wrong? You think everyone got it wrong?
I think we were born into a world that was misunderstood about the nature of the order of the stars and also the nature of the Earth. Very easy to see it both ways. If when I say I think the Earth is stationary, and that proves a flat Earth, the reason why I would say that is because on the globe, for the model that the globe model, it has to be rotating. If it isn't rotating, there's no globe model. So I say, if it's not, if we can observe something other than it rotating and it makes sense. So that was another thing you mentioned, was there's no flat Earth map, and I agree with you there. I don't think that that there ever will be a flat Earth map, and I don't. Also, at the same time, I don't think that the globe is 100% accurate of a model either.
Okay, right. So let's focus on that then. If you're saying that you don't think the globe is accurate, it's an accurate representation, can you provide evidence of that you two can talk about?
Yes. Go to the South Pole on the globe or on Google Earth and just tell me why they have to stitch all those images at the South Pole. Why don't they just take an image of the South Pole?
What?
Wait. Oh, God.
It's huge. Like, it was a satellite. You know, a satellite's going around quite close.
A polar orbit?
Well, I'm not sure kind of what image you're
It
talking
would
about.
have to be a polar orbit. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of satellites that go over the South Pole. And so why would there be a stitched image in something like Google Earth when they have capability to just take a picture?
It might have been just where one of the passes was or something, if you know what I mean. I honestly, when I saw the photo, wouldn't know what you mean, but it's going to be something like that where these pictures do have to be physically stitched together. If they are a passing satellite, it just doesn't.
But not if it's going right over. It'd be able to. What I'm saying is like the actual South Pole, like on the globe or whatever.
You mean this part, right?
Yeah, if you zoom into the very center, you'll see what I mean. It's stitched together. See right there? Why couldn't they just take a picture, an image of that area? Because just to the left of that or to the right of that, there's an image. Do you know what I'm saying? They have to stitch it there, and I don't know why.
It just has to be in certain places, if you know what I mean. There's just no. They tried to get a good quality one by doing like passes, right? You know, if you're far away, you're not going to get good high quality definition. So as far as I know, that's why they do these closer satellite imagery, because then you're obviously going to understand the topography a lot.
And one of your passes will be passing over the South Pole, and so you'll have an image of the South Pole, is what I'm saying. That's just one thing about the. So
you admit that is an image of the South Pole?
Well, it's a stitched image. I'm not saying that it's not. What I'm saying is, if that was stitched and needed to be, then Australia should be also, because it's got the same type of passes going over it with these satellites in a polar orbit. You know what I'm saying?
It is the same, right?
I think honestly that is a really weak argument, to be honest.
Well, it's just one reason that I don't believe that the globe is 100% accurate. I mean, there's
because of.
I think you're looking for problems.
If you're yes, and I agree. I'm not saying I have like a big like I'm not saying that to be a big point or something. I'm just saying that the model of the not having a map, let's say, I don't think that we can have a map because I think that there's an end to the Earth somewhere, and I don't necessarily think that we've even been there. Like I mean, we know where Antarctica is or whatever, but I think that there's a way that it's the end of the Earth. Like I think that there's boundaries, and I'm not saying I have any evidence for this at all, but
So do you believe that the, say, Antarctica is an ice wall around the flat plane?
I could see that being a possibility. Like if it was, like basically the highest elevation, if it was the highest elevation on the Earth, then I could see that being an ice wall going around, and that would be south from if you're in the north and you were going south, you'd be basically drawing a radius out to that ice wall. Do you know what I mean?
But then, I mean, there's been observations of 24-hour sun in Antarctica.
Mhm.
There's certain, like I say, certain little observations that are flat Earth killers, and
It all
you
depends though,
just
because
go, or kind of actually look into it and think,
so when
that
you're
is
saying there's a 24-hour sun, now I'm not going to disagree with that. I know that the flat earthers say they faked the video for that, but I know nobody's faking anything. So I don't think I don't think anyone's faking anything. If they had a time lapse that was short of 24 hours or something, then it is what it is. But if there's a 24-hour sun, when you say that, are you saying that the sun is moving over the horizon or whatever in it basically in a circle, and it doesn't actually set? That's really basically what you're saying. If I'm getting you right, right?
yeah. I mean, and it's observed.
Yeah,
You know,
and so what I would
again,
say is that's the sun up in the sky doing
then
circles.
it's affecting what we observe on Earth, though, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
you're saying Chile, and then on a flat plane, some of these land masses are 4 times as far away on one of these projections as they kind of are in reality, say with globe flight times and things which confirm
yeah.
it. So there'd have to be more than one sun or something, and that's, again, it goes into fairy tale land where we have to reinvent things or imagine something new to kind of paint over the crack that that can't work on a flat earth, so we have to imagine
Maybe
something
we
else.
need to maybe we need to like be more specific as far as like what wouldn't work. There is one thing that you mentioned that I wanted to bring up. Um, the stars, you're saying at the equator they switch directions, and I'm not saying you're wrong because I'm the one telling you that in the north they're going counterclockwise and in the south they're going clockwise when you do star trails. But the point I want to make is that this is something that I've seen a lot of people be not understanding why that is. And um all the stars are actually going, they're circling around, we could say either the southern or the northern star, or the center point of rotation, because they're all going the same direction. They're all setting, no matter where you are on the earth, they're all setting in the west and rising in the east.
But
It's
how is that
actually
possible on a flat earth, though?
because
How
you're
can we have
no
2 points of rotation?
because you're turning around, you're looking north, and in order to look to the south, like if you're at the equator, the north star is going to be on the horizon.
My brain.
If you're looking at if you switch from looking at the north star on the horizon to looking at the south, or whatever, the southern cross on the horizon, you have to turn around, and so it's going to appear that everything's going the opposite way,
But
similar
then
to the moon in the
I,
south and the north being upside down. So very much similar to that.
I do understand what you mean,
Okay.
but like I say, there's 2 points of rotation on that flat disk. So, you could be on the North Pole, you see one, and then, you go over the equator and obviously then start looking south, you see another one.
Yep.
But on a flat disk, there would be many, many directions of south, because you're kind of on a wheel. Imagine a wheel.
Yeah, I
and
know what you're
everyone's
saying. Yeah,
and looking outwards.
and
How many
there's only
directions is
one.
that? And there's
Like
only
there's
one
only
story you
one
see.
nighttime at a time or whatever. One darkness on the earth, like in the shadow. If you're on a globe, the shadowed part, there's only one shadowed part, and the other side is in daylight and not seeing the
Yeah,
stars.
yeah. And
So
again,
if you're in Australia, it's going to be a certain time that you're able to see. I'm sorry if I'm cutting you off. I'm not trying to.
no,
Um,
that's what I mean.
you're going to be seeing the stars at night, and so as the I guess hard to explain what I'm trying to say with my vocabulary.
Again, I do totally understand what you're saying. But if you mapped those countries out that are in nighttime, they would all still be in nighttime. Like half the globe is always in nighttime.
Yeah,
But
generally.
on a flat plane, say one would be at 10 o'clock, at 1 o'clock looking outwards, and one would be at 6 o'clock looking outwards. And they both see the same stars looking south. And that
Yeah,
is impossible.
I think that's right. I think that's very possible on and
Imagine a clock face, and you're standing at 10 o'clock and you look outwards away from the center of the
Yep.
face. And
then
then
you're
you
going
go
to look at 4 o'clock or something.
6 o'clock, and then
Yeah.
look south away from the center of the face. You both still in the middle of that see, Sigma Octantis or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
circling around. But how is that possible? Again, there would have to be 5 or 6.
That's why I don't think that
stories.
that's why I don't think that a flat earth map is even possible. I don't think that the earth itself can be modeled really. Because I think we should also make sure that we're honest with ourselves.
Let me just clarify what you're saying there. You don't think that an accurate map can be made?
Yeah, I do not.
Sorry, one sec.
That is
I'm just getting a phone call. Yeah, hi, cartographers. Yeah. I know you're really mad. I know. I'll deal with it
They're
seriously.
pissed.
I'm sure he didn't mean it. All right. Look, guys, I'm sorry. Just maybe switch off the stream.
You just
cartographers are really angry at you. You shouldn't say shit like that.
Oh, don't worry about it. They've already come to my house and I've had a chat with them. I told him about this right here.
I think honestly, you've got
him.
really good ideas. Dude, you've got an incredible brain and imagination, but nothing you're saying or have suggested, it's a thought, an imagination. But we do make observations on Earth that are only possible at least on a 3-dimensional object, which does rule out flat Earth.
And I think that's I do have to say that I think there's another way. Like I mentioned, I think before the show, how it's interesting to me how two people can basically kind of be analyzing the same thing, but seeing it in a different way. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously I'm not coming on here, and you know this, I'm not coming on here saying something that I don't believe to be true. You know what I mean? I'm seeing it a certain way, and it's legitimate and makes complete sense to me in a certain way. Yet you're able to see it in an entirely different way. That's interesting to me.
Yeah, like I said, it really is interesting how some people can see things, one way, and some people can be wrong. That is quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the globe is wrong, but I mean, we don't have to pick on them guys that much, do we? I'm just the one thing is like the sunset. I mean, I hear people saying, "Oh, you got a sunset on the ocean that proves the globe." I'm like, I don't even look at it that way.
What did you think of the Renti observation? Have you seen that? I mean, I'm no expert on optics, shall we say?
I'm not either, but I watched the debate between Renti and Austin Whitsitt recently. I don't know if you caught that. It was pretty good to watch.
I did, yes.
Yeah, I watched that. Oh, maybe I talked to you in the chat there, maybe. I can't remember.
It's amazing how badly flat earthers can do in debates.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying it's amazing how badly flat earthers can do in debates.
Well, that's all.
I think,
That's all something that's on the same on the same idea as where how two people can see something differently that are looking
I'm
at the
so
same thing.
glad you're not one of these fallacy guys, though. Like when if I was going up against Wits or something, I don't know how I'd
Yeah,
handle it. I'd have to just say to him, dude, F off with your effing
he's
fallacies.
Austin is a different type of debater. I mean, that comes into personality, I think, too. I'm not if somebody disagrees with me, usually, I mean, I'll try to stick up for what I'm saying, but at the same time, it's not more important than the other person that I'm talking to. You know what I mean? I don't think that people sometimes should like have the attitude where well, you don't know anything or whatever. Because I don't think there's anybody that doesn't know anything. Everyone's special. That we're
That's
all a person with thoughts that have thoughts in our minds 24 hours a day, and we all know what that's like. So
people always, they kind of say, "Oh, the globe can't be challenged" and things, and but it definitely can. Like that's what I've learned from science is everything in science can be challenged, and if you
yeah,
can actually prove something wrong, and get some people to actually review it, it will get accepted, if you know what I mean. There's no cardinal person sitting there going, we live on a globe and it can never ever change.
yeah. I think
Literally,
they're
if
open to
somebody could prove it, that
they're
would be
open to being wrong. I
yeah,
think like science would be open to being wrong. I think it
yeah,
like being proved
they're
wrong or
open
whatever
to it.
with
They
new
want,
technology or whatever.
yeah,
But I think we have to be careful too because science is like what is it? It's knowledge. It's gathering knowledge about the physical reality, right? I mean, that's basically what science is. And there's certain ways to go about it. And I'm kind of actually trying to point out some of the areas where I see error to be very possible, but for anyone, we can all make errors if we're not thinking about things carefully. Um, I just think like if I don't think we should ignore the idea that I'm bringing up about the Earth being stationary and the whole sky moving, instead of the Earth being a globe turning and the sky just being there or whatever. Because that's an observation
Thanks,
we all
Will.
make. And so we have some instruments that tell us the opposite. And I have a hard time with that. I sense the room I'm
but I
in
mean,
and, the world that I live in and my yard,
Oh,
my house, my foundation of my
okay,
house. None
right.
of this
Well,
has ever been moving or
let's
rotating.
talk about evidence for the rotation of the Earth then.
I would say,
One
I
thing
would say
that
proper
Seek True
attention.
Speed Truth brought up was the yacht effect.
Is that the weight difference in the like
Yeah,
a
in an aeroplane, as far as I understand, yeah. And
okay.
obviously, sort of gravity is used in the equations. So a plane traveling east to west, again, I'm not an expert, but I remember these little snippets, and you
Yep.
would weigh slightly more or less going one way than the other. It's been tested multiple times, and again, I'm sure these scientists that do it, they are they're trying to discover something new, and if they
Yeah, they're
did,
not being
they'd,
dishonest, I
they'd
don't think.
shout they'd shout it from the rooftops. But that it always seems to confirm what is expected. Um, but what was expected, it's been learned over hundreds of years, and those equations help planes fly, help boats not sink. If you know what I mean, like there's so
Yeah, but
much.
like flying a plane, that to fly a plane, you're flying your plane as far as the plane is concerned, or the pilot in the plane is concerned, the earth is not moving and neither is the atmosphere. I mean, there's jet streams and stuff, but I'm saying that the rotation of the earth is not observed when you're flying a plane.
Well, I mean, again, my it's probably some type of fallacy somehow, like, but I know a pilot personally, and when I was a flat earther, I used to kind of argue with him, and he pandered to me a little bit, but when I left, he kind of was like, "Mate, I'm so glad you've realised flight paths. You know, there's things. Aeroplanes are one of the best and easiest ways, to be honest. Again,
Yeah, but we're talking about rotation of the Earth. I
track
mean,
flights. Yeah, well, yeah. But yeah, so
there's like if you
what's
go to a
correct? I mean,
training manuals from NASA, they'll mention that the equations or whatever that they're doing, or like for ballistic trajectories, things like that, they're figuring that over a non-moving Earth and a
that's
flat
because
surface.
it's because the aircraft is within the atmosphere. If you know what I mean, that's
Exactly.
why.
So what I'm saying is that nothing about an airplane tells us anything about the Earth rotating. It says nothing about that. It actually says that the
Well,
plane needs a stationary Earth. I
no,
mean, it
but
doesn't need it,
the
but
Opvos effect, the Opvos effect, like when you actually measure it and work it out, and they are obviously pre-assuming. But if you pre-unassume and imagine, you know, it wouldn't change at all if the Earth was flat and stationary. There would be no difference. But when it's tested, there is a difference. So that is evidence of rotation.
So to clarify what
how
the
do you?
Opvos effect is,
Yeah, maybe because I don't think I'm familiar with that.
when you travel east to west with the rotation of the Earth,
Okay.
the heliocentric model says that that would increase your centrifugal acceleration, right? Because you're going faster than the Earth's rotation.
Yeah, so
So
your
if
outward acceleration
yeah,
would be more,
yes. So
right?
if you've increased your centrifugal acceleration, your perceived gravitational acceleration will be less, which means that when you are traveling east to west, you weigh less than when you're traveling west to east, which is when you
Because you're kind
would
of flying. You're
decrease
kind of like
the
getting zinged
centrifugal
out there
acceleration.
faster.
Yeah. And
But it's
like
a very, very
STSE
small
said,
amount,
this has been
right?
tested many times in the
Yeah.
Indian Ocean in the 1800s for those, I think, the first time. And Wolfie
Do you know
6020
the
did it
do you
on
know
planes
offhand
across Australia.
the scale of weight difference, or the
Like
do you know approximately?
less than 1%. You know, it
Okay.
is it's very small amounts, but it is measurable.
It's still there.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
The
again,
thing
I would
is,
have to point out that it would be. Oops, I'm sorry, I was speaking and I cut you off.
that's all right, mate. Sorry. No, I was going to say you got the Foucault pendulum as well. You know, you can literally work out your latitude on Earth, matching exactly where you are. It will, you know, it will match the degree of rotation of where you are, so you can work that out. You can travel to a different place, try it again, and it will again match.
And that along with the other one with the flying or whatever, with the weight and flying,
The Optvos.
that yeah, I would have to say that those are
The
both
Optvos.
ideas that we're measuring. We are measuring a difference. You're saying, like
Yeah,
physically, we're measuring a weight difference,
absolutely.
and the focal pendulum moves in a different manner from different positions on Earth. But wouldn't it be our idea that is attributed to the Earth spinning?
But then they would have thought before that, like, what else could it be? If you know what I mean, like these things again would be just done over and over, and that is a test which people thought, oh, do you know what? If we tried this, will we be able to assume? You know, will we be able to see that there is rotation of Earth? And it's done multiple times. Like, I could understand, you know, if it's maybe even done 10 times, and you think, it's just a coincidence, but when it's done time and time again, year after year after year, uh, that that literally is proof. And again, thanks, Bob, the 15-degree shift. Uh,
I think
to be
Thanks,
Bob
honest,
Bob.
still
I
has
think
more to say about
it's
that, but
fine. You're just going, do you know what I mean? Like, you're kind of not accepting them as a piece of evidence. You're just kind of saying,
well,
oh,
what?
it's
Let
gonna
me
happen.
ask you a question. When your senses and your observation that you actually make is that the room you're in right now is not rotating, spinning, or anything that you can tell, and then when you have an instrument that basically flies in the face of what your observations are this moment, what do you do with that? Do you know what I'm saying? We can use a gyroscope.
Yeah, I mean, it's scientific to be able to accept that you're wrong. We assume things, and none of us want to be wrong about anything, you know. I'll
So
accept
what?
that. But it is about accepting that, there is that observation that kind of lends itself to we rotate. There's another one. There's another one.
Mhm.
You know, and then we could get into, like, say, long distance sniper rifle. You know, there's again equations that are put into place, and they work. If you know what I mean, like there's.
But at the same time that stuff might work, do you also agree that we observe, perceive, experience a stationary ground or still ground beneath us?
We perceive that,
And
yes.
I understand we would perceive no motion on us on a globe. So I'm not trying to like be one-sided. I agree that
Yeah,
we shouldn't feel any motion if there's no acceleration. But the point is that I think it was Nathan Thompson and Team Skeptic were debating one time, and
Shut the fuck up, Nathan.
I can't remember the exact wording used, but I think he threw a water bottle up in the air, and Team Skeptic was telling him how that's ballistic, and that the Earth was, I think he said the Earth was spinning underneath that or something, and then he was talking about being in a moving car going 90 miles an hour or something, and you flip a coin, is it gonna come right back down in your lap, or is it gonna hit the guy behind you in the face or whatever? And the point that I got out of it was, of course, it's just gonna come right down to your lap because you're moving at 90 and it's got that motion already. So when you throw it up in the air, it's already got that motion, and so it's just gonna come back down just like it would if you were sitting still. And that's what Nathan said after that. He said, same as if you're sitting still. So it's like we're observing the same thing, but it's an idea that you have that I've learned that I don't agree with it anymore. Do you know what I mean? The idea
yeah.
that the Earth
It's
itself
okay.
is spinning, and I say, well, I don't think that those instruments are measuring what we think they're measuring.
But again, it is just think, isn't it? If you know what I mean, like you don't think, which is fair enough.
I
It's
have reasons
on
though too, you
acceptance.
know.
Basically, is what you're saying is you don't accept that there is evidence of rotation.
No, I
Um,
do, but I don't think it's the ground. I clearly see the sky doing it.
mm,
So I don't know. That's why I don't know enough to determine whether the gyroscope is measuring something that it's sitting on, or is it measuring something that's moving. That, you know what I'm saying? I don't
Sitting on,
know.
definitely sitting on.
yeah, I mean, again, that is an observation to make, but there's very many other observations that go against that, which we mentioned earlier, the star trails, the way we observe them. That's brilliant, by the way. That's so funny.
Oh, you like that one? Yeah, we're all hanging on the ISS right now. We're doing our conversation from up here.
We need to just have that on the screen all the time, I think.
Yeah, it's fun. That's actually me on the left too.
Yeah.
I did that with the green screen.
That's pretty well done, man.
I've actually done live ISS interviews from my channel. I'll have to do one of those soon.
Okay, we're going to give it like another 20, 30 minutes and then we'll go into a Q&A. So is there any specific evidence that you guys would like to talk about? And anything else that you brought up, STST, that you would like him to address?
I mean, he's already addressed there's no working map and he doesn't think there ever will be one, no working model. So
Funny
to
that.
me, that's very good evidence against Flat Earth.
Yeah, I know he's been given a lot of evidence against
We could
Flat
talk
Earth.
about
I thought that.
eclipses.
Yeah,
We could talk about eclipses.
I mean, again, I'm no expert on eclipses, but I do understand that they are pretty fatal to a flat Earth.
Okay.
And that's one thing we could talk about. Like I'm in the same boat as you. I'm like, no, I don't have any degree or anything like that. I'm a carpenter. I swing a hammer. So I'm not some sophisticated science
guys, I need to go and take a Riley. So STST, I'm going to leave you in charge of my channel for 2 minutes. All right.
Don't hit your head.
Don't take this moment to let everyone know that you've been faking it and you're still a flat earther and
Yeah.
take my channel, okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
Riley's
Craig's
coming on in a
gone. Now
minute.
we can. No, I'm just kidding.
Back in a sec.
So this is footage that I took of.
No, wait,
the,
dude, we're going to get ranty on in a second. This has all been fake. I'm coming
Yeah.
back to flat
We're
Earth.
gonna totally. We're sabotaging Craig's channel. No, I'm just kidding.
Never, ever, ever. Okay, carry on, mate.
I do think it's great that we can have conversations of like I watch other debates and people just don't understand how to treat other people. I think like I don't think you're dumb.
I've had to hold myself back. I must admit, like it's been a couple of times I've wanted to go, dude, like, and
Yeah, no, and I understand that.
Yeah, but I've been like, no,
But we do. What I do think that I want to point out is that during those kinds of debates, you're a person, I'm a person. We're talking about something we disagree with. It doesn't say that either one of us is dumb. You know what I'm saying? And I know that that's a fun thing in the chat that people are the Flerfs and all that stuff. And I think it's great. I
honestly don't think there's dumb globe Earth believers as well. I just think flat earthers, a lot of them actually have lost potential.
I can agree with that.
I see a lot of good things in some flat earthers. Obviously there's some terrible, Riley and Oakley and things like
There's
that.
some craziness in the flat earthers too.
There's good people everywhere, aren't there? If you know what I mean. But
he's back.
Where we at on eclipses?
Okay, we didn't get nowhere, but here we go.
Let's talk about eclipses that are impossible in flat Earth.
Okay, there's a shadow that I went to this eclipse in 2017, and I drove to Nebraska to be in the totality, and it was really cool. By the way, if you ever get a chance, go be in or under an eclipse. It's cool. But there was about a 70-mile shadow, I think. Here's a video of the shadow with the GoPro just pointing up at the sky. There's a time lapse. So that was a shadow. That was 2.5 minutes. I'll just repeat that a couple times. If you look at the edges of that shadow, they're somewhat distinct. You can kind of do the timing in your own head if that's 2.5 minutes. It was a pretty sudden where it went from daylight to nighttime looking, It was really
How do
cool.
you explain that on a flat Earth?
Well, I think it's just the moon going in front of the sun. But what I do wonder is I don't think that it's possible to have a 70-mile wide shadow with somewhat distinct edges if the sun is that distance away. And because if we use the sun for our light source, you're not going to ever find a shadow of anything that's smaller than the object casting the shadow if you're using one light source. If you have two light sources, you can do that. You can get that penumbra. You can get that penumbra. You familiar with what the umbra and penumbra are? I'm sure you are. You might not remember the names, but
not to a massive extent. I mean, I usually, I don't know. I just kind of look at things as far as I can understand them, if you know what I mean. Try and understand to the best of my knowledge. Like, obviously when I was coming out of flat Earth, I learned things to the point where it definitely eliminated flat Earth. But kind of any more than that, it would be like a specific interest, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Maybe I'm still trying to find what that is, but I'm still very broad. But yeah, there is no explanation for that on a flat planet with close and local sun.
Well, and what the point I would make is that if someone wanted to try to figure it out, if you go outside and you have a ball or anything and you hold it up in the air and the sun is shining on it and making a shadow on the ground, that shadow on the ground is never going to be smaller than the ball that you're holding up. It's going to be, if anything, it's going to be like blurred edges the further you get away. So my question is, how is the moon, which is 2,116 miles in diameter, how is that making a shadow that's 70 miles in diameter? That's the question I have about eclipses. That makes no sense to me. because
There's
when I go
definitely
outside and I test it, what's that?
I mean, there's definitely answers out there, dude. And again, it will have been studied and repeated from different parts of the planet. They can time exactly when an eclipse is going to come, where you can view it on the globe, exactly, you know, to the second when it's actually going to hit from what location you're on. There's no way a flat earther with any type of workings out, you know, other than giving it a quick Google, would be able to work out when the next full moon
Well,
is.
I think we're talking about knowledge.
Hey,
I think we're talking about knowledge.
Just,
What's
just,
that? I'm sorry.
Just for a minute, watch this video that Mr. Sensible put together.
Yeah, that actually is a smaller.
Yeah. So, as you can see, the object is the size of that circle. And as he moves away and lines it up, it shows that
Gets blurrier edges.
you know it clearly gets look how much smaller it is.
Yeah.
Not
So
just
how do
blurry
you
edges,
tell him
much
to
smaller.
like? I think that's great that he actually did that. But if we were to take, let's just say that circle right there is 70 centimeters or 70 millimeters, let's say, right? So what the scale or whatever that I'm talking about is if that's 70 millimeters, then we need something that is 2,100 and whatever 2,100 centimeter or millimeters or whatever to be that size. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a much bigger difference than that small amount that he's showing there.
I mean, again, this is it's a valid question, but that is not any type of proof against the globe. Whether the shadow is big or not, from which
it's probably
distance,
against the heliocentric
the angle that it's
model.
hitting does prove that the sun is further away.
Yeah, where you're saying because the shadow is, or that the moon is between the sun and us, is what you're
the actual
saying.
shadow, say, will be, hitting the way the shadow is hitting the Earth will prove that the sun is actually much further away. They're not like yin and yang.
I don't think so.
A flat disc, if you know what I mean. That wouldn't be observed anywhere on Earth. That sort of phenomena that you've filmed.
Okay, yeah, and I guess that Mr. Sensible stuff that Craig was showing, I was trying to put that into perspective. I mean, if that was
it works out that's what we should see. That was the kind of the point of that.
No, I know, and the point that I'm making is that demonstration isn't proportionally accurate.
The chat is asking Eftupworld, when you went and got the image of the eclipse, how did you know where to go?
How did you not know where to go?
No. Like, how specifically did you find out how to go where you needed to go?
Probably Google. I don't know how. I don't know how
Google
to find an eclipse. I mean, I don't know myself. I use time and date. And the person that asked that
is based on a globe.
They also don't know.
Well, no, that's kind of
they might
is that you got it from timeanddate.com or whatever, which is
I think
based
so,
on
yeah.
a globe. Basically, the answer to the question is you knew where to go because of the heliocentric model.
So you're saying that eclipse is before, when people believed, before Galileo and before these guys, there was no eclipse.
You could never determine specifically where and when it would be. You had a rough idea, but based on
how would you get a rough idea?
Patterns,
that's what I'm wondering. How would they get a rough idea?
Simple repeating patterns and stuff, but you could never accurately say the exact time and place that eclipse would happen until we modeled out the heliocentric model. And
how did the prophets know
that was
those
STFC's point the whole way, is that this works on a globe. How do you explain it on the flat Earth?
I can't explain it. I mean, I can't explain the timing or when to see an eclipse. I don't know that. I have to use time and date or Google or whatever, Facebook, wherever I've heard about it.
Okay.
Or NASA. How's that?
Yeah, all globe. STSD, did you say about lunar eclipses as well?
Yes, mate. Sorry, I just went for a Riley there, but yeah, I mean both of the phenomena lunar eclipse and solar. How? I just, please try and explain how
so,
that is possible.
Eftupworld, you kind of gave an answer for the solar eclipse, but how do you explain a lunar eclipse then?
I can't explain it, but as far as I do see some problems thinking that shadow, and I'm even calling it a shadow. I don't think that that's a shadow on the moon. I think that that's the moon changing colors. Because when you're standing there,
the moon is a disc. Like,
yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I believe that.
So, right. So from that location, and that moon is a disc, somebody should be able to say, walk around the clock, if it's a flat earth, go from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and then look at that moon again. Where's the footage of that? That would,
it would be a lot
like
lower it would be a lot closer to the horizon if someone was further away from it, or whatever. If that's what you're saying?
It should, well, yeah, I mean, it shouldn't even be an eclipse there, should it? You should be able to.
Oh, I think I know what you're saying. You're saying that if the sun,
you'd be able to see the other side of it. Like if it was a disc, if you were looking face on at a disc, and then you slowly went around the side of it, it would then look like that, wouldn't it?
Well, let's say this. I don't think that it's oriented that way. If it's a disc, I think that it would be as if we put a plate on the ceiling, like that orientation. It would be facing down. The disc, the surface of it would be facing down, and so anytime you see it,
so
anyone's going to see the same. Anyone's going to see the same thing, but different positions. You know what I'm saying? But we'll all see the same side generally, and I know that we see more than 50% of it, but I don't know how to explain that, but
could you, I mean, just think to yourself how many times tonight you've said, which is it's fine. It's fine that you don't understand, because I don't understand most of this. But can you not understand or look and think, maybe I'm wrong? Maybe I'm just saying.
Oop, did we lose him? Eftupworld, are you still there? Still online?
okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Can you hear me now?
But
Yeah, sorry, Zoom went
okay.
down for a sec. It's back now.
Cool. I can't explain everything, but at the same time, I see water is a huge one. Water is a huge one. I like if you have a pool, the water appears to be flat at the surface, and you go bigger, you go to a lake, it's the same, but then all of a sudden you get to the oceans and suddenly there has to be like a 400-mile high water thing between California and Hawaii.
Again, that's like how people kind of, would imagine it like that. But from your observer, wherever you're looking, it's always just going to like drop down away from you. So there'll never be like a big hump in front of you. That's one thing that used to confuse the hell out of me. I used to think like when I looked ahead of myself, I should always be looking at like a big hill, thinking that that's the curve, if you know what I mean. And then that kind of stumped me. So I understand that, but that's kind of still not.
Yeah, I guess I just see the horizon. Like if you're standing at the ocean, I see the horizon and I see the shape of it, and I'm not saying that it should be curved on a sphere if we're looking at it, but the point that it is flat, I'm trying to pull up a video here.
But I mean, even the horizon, at maybe even a meter or two above ground level, I've seen images where they take a photo of the horizon, completely flat to how you would see it, but then you compress that image, and there's a slight curve.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean,
is that possible?
This flat water is always curving.
In a camera, but not in reality. Like a camera will get that if you compress an image. Like if we took what's on my screen right now and we compressed it down left to right, you're saying that there would be a curve there, but that actually doesn't make sense if you like not on a globe or flat argument, but it doesn't make sense if you turn a full circle. You're not going to see the ground going up and down, up and down, up and down. You're going to see a flat horizon all the way 360 degrees around you, whether the Earth was flat
That's,
or.
I think, yeah, that's what you'd expect to see on a ball anyway, really. Of
Yeah,
that
both. I think you'd see the
size.
same thing.
Yeah. It's like you say.
So
it's
I don't
more-
think if you compress it, it's not going to go up, is what I'm saying.
No, I mean, there's
That
one
would be
where,
a
again, you
camera
have
artifact.
like a level, perfectly straight, flat level.
Yeah.
Might be, I don't know, 5 feet long.
How about a
Flat
50-foot long
horizon.
railing?
Yeah.
Guess what the
Anything
carpenter's
like
going
that.
to use?
Yeah.
What's
seen
the
them.
carpenter going to use?
And
Is he going to use his level, or if I built a railing? Sorry, if I built a railing
they will.
next to the ocean, what would I use? Would I use I could use a laser level. I could use any number of kinds of ways to level it, but the best way is going to be eyeballing it with the ocean because it's perfectly flat.
That's the cowboy way that they'd actually use.
Yeah, but that's
levels
the
and
best
things,
way. I mean, I guess we can do it with measurements, or we can
That's
do it
the
with an equipment,
best
but we
What
can
I'm
do
trying
it
to
better
say though,
if
dude,
we
is
line it up.
you can compress an
Sorry,
image.
I'm
with
getting another
that
phone call.
perfectly
I'm getting another
flat-
phone call. Hi, construction industry. Yeah, I know you're mad as well. I'm sorry. Yeah, he pissed off a bunch of cartographers earlier. I know. Look, if you wanted to speak to a lawyer, I know. Just calm down. No, if you're gonna speak that, I'm just gonna hang up. Dude, you're pissing
Those
off
are the
people.
guys that hired me to build the railing, though.
Yeah, they weren't happy.
Why would they
about
hire
that
me?
either.
Why would they hire me? Because I know what I'm doing. No, I'm just saying if you build a railing by, like a long railing by the ocean, this is actually a good example. You're not going to build it with a curve. You're going to build it flat.
Yeah, I mean that flat.
It's going to
you know,
line up with the ocean, the water.
So-
If you're taking an image and you're compressing the image, and you're getting a slight hump in that compressed image, it's because of the camera. It has
So
nothing
I
to do
just
what
want
I'm
to
trying to say,
clarify, like imagine Eftupworld for a sec that you're like a building inspector and this new building has been constructed, really large, massive, structure, and you're speaking to the engineers and you say, so just tell me, how did you verify all the measurements? And they say, oh, we just eyeballed it. Are you going to give that building a pass?
Well, I think we're being very specific here, Craig, and I think your example's funny, but I'm not eyeballing everything. The best way to find a level surface is to use water, and that's what a spirit level is. I mean, it's got a curved glass piece in it, and the top is level. You know what I mean?
And
It's just
even a level uses gravity. Obviously, that's another subject in itself. But what I'm trying to say about this railing, though, effed up, is you can compress that image, and the railing is still perfectly flat, yet the horizon behind it does have a curve. Similar to Mr. Simpson's
I think
mage.
there's principally something. There's wrong with that principle. There's something wrong with that principle. If we analyze it, okay, so let's say your camera's facing west, and you take that picture, and you compress it, and you see a slight hump. I mean, whether it's a foot or whatever, it doesn't matter. If you see a hump in the middle, what happens when instead of facing west, now you're going to face south. So now you're looking south. You take the same picture south. Like if you're out in the middle of the ocean, you could do this. You take the same picture facing south, you're going to get the same lift in the middle when you compress it, right? So put those two together, and does that make any sense? You'd need a wide angle lens, which is going to curve that water even more. And so the wider you want to see at once, you're going to get more of a artificial curve, and that's a camera artifact. It is not in reality.
What would you suggest then to say the mage balloon flight? Obviously I can understand how it'd be hard to accept to see curvature from this height. In my opinion, it's yes, a compressed image, but there's still things that are perfectly, in the frame, eye level, perfectly flat. But yeah, what about mage?
So what happens as you turn though from west to south or whatever on the mage thing or anything? What happens? When you compress any degree of that circle, when you compress it, does it still have still raised in the center?
Like you're kind of, if you're going to do it like that, you're distorting it because it's a one-off image.
Yes.
Then if you want to try and stitch it together like that, that's totally different to, say, turning round using a camera.
Well, if we're on if we could, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but if we're in reality and we're standing at the ocean and you and I are standing there and we look all the way to the right, we see the horizon, or whatever you want to call it. We see the water appear to meet the sky. And then as we look all the way to our left, so basically almost 180 degrees of vision, we see, and we can compare that with a straight edge and it matches. So that I would argue that the surface of the water is not ever going up. MC Toon showed in one of his, I don't remember, it was a little while ago, maybe a month ago, he showed an image that someone had taken, and I don't remember what it was. I can't remember, but he was trying to say that the water actually goes up in the center. And I'm sitting there going, no, that's not what's happening, because that's something that the lens on the camera is doing. Like, you know how a fisheye lens distorts the image up and down from the center of the image. It distorts it opposite ways so that we can see more of what we're trying to take a picture of. Just like that, if you take any camera and you point it at the horizon, if you're compressing that image and you're getting a kind of a hump up in the middle, that's a camera artifact. It is not part of reality, is what I'm saying.
Not when there's actually something in the frame that actually proves that the image isn't distorted, if you know what I mean. I think there is always apparently some type of barrel distortion. Like, you'll never get a photo with none, I don't think.
Well, if you take a level and put it on a tripod at the ocean, you're going to notice that the water, that horizon line is perfectly straight line, and it goes along with that level the whole way.
Yeah, to your eye.
Take an image, you can compress it and get it to hump up.
Yeah, but then when you kind of take it pixel to pixel and compress it inwards, you know, you're not manipulating the image in any way. It's just compressing inwards, and the
camera is making the image
flat. You know, the level is still just completely flat line, and then what you see behind it is curved. You know, I've even seen
the horizon is
above the horizon and below, both completely flat. And then the actual horizon in the middle is, you know, it's obviously only ever so slight. That's why you need the compression.
Yeah, and I guess what my argument would be is that is from the focal plane on the camera taking in light and transferring that into a JPEG or a whatever image. It's happening when it comes through the lens there. That's what that curvature or whatever we want to call it is, because in reality it doesn't do that, because my level
evidence that that's the case, or
It's kind of on my screen, actually. If you go to the ocean,
curve.
I can see a curve.
What's that?
I can see a curve.
You can see a curve at the ocean? Come on.
Well, I can see a horizon. I think if the Earth was flat, you'd be able to see a lot further than that.
What would you see if you could see further than that? I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that. What would you see on a flat Earth if you were standing at the ocean?
A lot further.
Would you see the same thing? What do you mean a lot further? How can you even tell how far the distance? We can't even really tell how far away that horizon is, can we?
I mean, even say photos taken from an aeroplane, you know, you've got a lot of elevation then. And
yes.
I've never really seen any photos that are taken that go against what we would see on a globe. You know, say flying over Europe.
I got
say
one
America,
thing.
maybe you'd be able to take pictures of multiple states in America, like 5 or 6 in a row.
With yeah, if you can see through the air, like with infrared or whatever.
You know, obviously, yeah. I mean, even in infrared, I know that Jay Tolan or whatever has tried his best, but even again, any observation he's made always matches up with what you would see on a globe. There's never any image taken ever that does not match what the globe would expect.
I think I even showed you some video footage from the lake that I live by, that it's almost 20 miles across. And actually, that was one thing I was going to point out is you mentioned I think it was this video. You mentioned this pile of rocks in the water that has ice all over it or whatever.
Mm.
That I'm just going off the top of my head, but I believe that that's like 3 miles from the camera. And those trees behind it are almost 20 miles from the camera. So that's why they're so short or whatever. But yeah, those are, there's like, I think maybe 14 or 17 miles between those rocks and the opposite shore. So that was kind of the point of this. If we go and we zoom in on this shore, we can see, I mean, whoops, that's not what I'm trying to do. If you go to the lake and it's calm, you can see the other side. You can see the houses that are on the shore.
But again,
So
that's only 14. How many miles? 14 miles, you say? I mean, it's
yeah,
not
it goes
that
from,
impressive.
it kind of goes at an angle because the lake from where I'm at, the lake is like at an angle. And so on the left, it's like 10 miles. On the right, it's like up to almost 20 miles, like 19 and a half miles. But you can see the trees there on a hill. There's a road that goes around the lake everywhere too. So every once in a while, you'll see a car even from 18 or 13 miles away, or however, depending on where it is.
Okay. I think it's time that we move on to Q&A now, because I think
right.
we've reached the point where STSE is realizing that Eftupworld's evidence is not and it could be different, which is.
I'm starting to get a
Would I
headache.
expect anything different, Craig?
Well, I mean, there's a reason I renamed one of the debates I had with you as Flat Earther says nuh-uh until I smash my head into a keyboard. This is why I have, concussions.
Craig, you know that I got some legitimate points, though. You know that I made some legitimate points.
I completely reject all of your points as even slightly legitimate in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
100%. So what we're going to do, I'm going to read through the super chats and see if there's any questions for you there. And then I'll look in the chat. And if anyone has any questions for either Eftupworld or for Seek Truth, Speak Truth, as I'm getting near the end of the super chats, I'll tell you, and you can start tagging me with questions for the guys, either of them. So, all right, here we go. I want to say thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I had like 660 people at one point. In fact, I think I saw it peak out at about 666. Ooh,
That's scary.
Sorry if I've not interacted as much. I am still recovering from concussion, and looking at the screens has been quite difficult for a large length of time. So I appreciate your patience, and I'm glad that you guys have managed to have a peaceful debate that I haven't needed to intervene in much.
Well, you haven't seen it yet.
You did give me more of a headache, like normal.
I appreciate you guys, both you guys.
Thank you. David for $4.99 says, I foolishly committed to taking a drink every time Eftupworld says, just kidding. I fear I'll be as incoherent as a Flerf by the time this is over. Yet brain damage, I find, is a good way to become like a Flerf. Then we got 2 new members, Matt Powell and Unofficial, and Dr. Peel. Apparently, Matt Powell has an inflatable banana in his back garden that he calls Dr. Peel.
Can someone fill me in?
No.
No,
no one tell him. No one's allowed to tell Eftupworld why everyone says that. He just has to deal with it.
I've just been hearing about it.
I even got Scott Manley to say it, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
Colin O'Driscoll for €5.49 says, Earth's round, feller. Deal with it. What do you say, Eftupworld?
Fly safe. I'm just kidding. No, Scott Manley. I guess we can differ on opinions there.
Well, opinions are different to facts, and there's a little fact, and one of them is that the Earth's a fucking globe. Woden
one of them also
says, Eftupworld, how do you feel about calculus? Why does calculus work?
Because it's calculus. I don't know. What does that have to do with flat Earth?
Quite a lot, actually.
Let me put you on the spot. Tell me how. How does
Well,
calculus work differently on a flat Earth than
it
it would
doesn't
on a
work
globe?
differently, but if you can do any kind of basic calculus, then you very quickly realize that nothing works on a flat Earth. And I mean very basic calculus.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I can guarantee you it's a fact.
Okay. Next.
Rick Hansen for £5 says, have this to buy yourself a new cushion. I think you'll need it by the end of this. Yeah, I want to show this off again because this is absolutely
He's going to need
awesome.
a custom facepalm oven mitt before
Look
this
at the
is over.
size of this awesome FTFE plushie. And
That's cool.
speak to Mark Zeonce or me and find out when and how you'll be able to get hold of your own FTFE plushie. Corn Tech for $5 says the Apollo 8 maybe photograph that has the South Pole bathed in sunlight because it was winter solace. The whole of Antarctica is there and it wasn't stitched together.
Oh, like you're saying in 72 with like when they took actual pictures?
That was way before 72, Apollo 8.
Oh, Apollo 8. Okay,
Yeah.
I guess I didn't hear it right. It would have been the same kind of camera, right? On Apollo 8 as it would later on.
I mean, relatively similar. I think the Hasselblad model, Eugene
whatever preceded that, maybe
was released in 71, but it would have been relatively similar technology. Yeah,
similar camera. I don't know. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be very detailed of an image, but that is a good point. That is a good point.
You're definitely the new Ranty. Like the way you're just showing globe proofs.
Yeah, there was. I was confused at some points during that because you kept showing evidence for the Earth being a globe, and I was like, wait, STSE is not a flat Earther anymore. What's going on?
Me and STSE switched or STST switched spots for a while without you noticing.
Then we've got Bella Charge for $2 New Zealand says, no one is faking anything. Show him Blue Marvel. Well, Blue Marvel is a superhero from Marvel Comics that was first in 19. Wait, I think he means Blue Marvel. Yeah. What about this?
Yeah, I've seen that.
And your thoughts are?
My thoughts there is that it's taken from a place that is not understood by men because clearly they think it's an exploration playground and it's a place of darkness.
So
outer darkness.
Wait, so physics are so different there that when you take a photograph, it makes it look like a sphere.
Well, I guess that I could agree that looks like a sphere.
I mean, it has to be a sphere.
When I'm on the Earth,
where is the rest of the fucking countries?
What do you mean? There's that's darkness.
Africa. Where's the rest of the countries?
Not visible from where they are, obviously.
Yeah, because
I'm not saying I know everything about it, but I do know that water doesn't take a curved shape like that, no matter how big of
I mean,
amount of
there's
water.
a photo of it, so I would.
Have
disagree.
you seen the one, the ball of water in the ISS? Like, it's actually like the natural state it wants to be in. It's like,
that shows us how different the physics is in space.
Oh my god!
But we're in space. We are literally like Earth is in space.
I don't think that it is.
Joe,
I think that there's a place of darkness above the Earth.
I'm already dealing with concussion. Please.
Craig, you invited me here. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I asked you.
So then we've got David for $4.99 says, Eftupworld in a nutshell. Can't you see how I might get confused if I use my eyes and not my brain? Do you? No. Really, do you? Tell me, do you?
I didn't quite understand if I should say yes or no. I don't know. I think paying attention to what we observe is important, and also trying to be smart about it, obviously.
No, right. Okay, I see. Justin Noab for $5 says, lunar eclipses lower the contrast of the moon greatly. You can clearly see it has a spherical shape. This dude is a Poe. Eftupworld, he thinks you're a Poe.
Hey, they always say I'm a Poe. I'm used to it. I don't really care.
I really think he is this.
I'm not a Poe. I'm a flat earther.
You're what?
A flat earther.
Wait, say it again. I'm trying to find the clip.
Okay, wait, ready? Ready yet? I'm a flat earther.
I've lost the fucking clip. Where is it gone?
Hold on. Let me repeat that. I'm a flat earther.
My God.
Craig hit his head really hard.
I know,
guys.
this
Give him a
sucks.
break.
I've literally lost the clip that I wanted to use. Wait, no, right,
I've
say
got
it again.
this. I've got this crazy idea in my mind now of
Say it
Craig
again.
playing on his kid's swing set inside between a door, and he does a backflip. You know, dismounts the swing and does some aerobatics or whatever, and boom, smacked his head on the door handle or something.
So you said you're a what now?
I'm a flat earther.
Oh, I say.
Vince, apparently they prefer the word retard.
Aye? Oh, how very quaint.
Oh, you're one of them. You're thinking they are doing this and they are doing that. Is that really? I'm just kidding.
The Fox called
That's
you a
one thing
retard.
I strongly disagree with is the idea of the Illuminati or the Jesuits or the Freemasons running the world. That's a big joke.
I don't think you're a po. Honestly, like I don't think I'd have debated you if I thought you were a po.
And I actually forgot what a po is.
So
Someone told me what a po was, and I forgot what it
basically
was.
means that you're doing it for attention. You
Or
know,
for money.
You know the Earth isn't flat, and you just want a bit of mini internet fame.
Yeah, he
Oh,
a
yeah,
poet is a
fame. That's a
Maccabi,
good way to be
a
famous.
Maccabi, like poet.
He just
poet
called-
from the 1900s. That's what a poet. Wait, no, that's Edgar Allan Poe. I'm sorry. Never mind. Earth is Life for $5 says, "Seek truth, speak truth. Check your Discord." Thanks for giving me money to give him a message. Cheers. Decepticons forever. Autobots all the way. For $2 Canadian, not real money then, Canadian money. Not getting scale seems more like a hubris issue. What do you think about that?
I get not getting scale. Is that what it
Yeah,
said?
he thinks you don't get scale.
Like the size scale like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I don't really know what the comment was saying.
It doesn't matter. He's right. Lord
It
of
doesn't
Luminous
matter, he's
Pooh
right.
For $2 says, "Bull curve in every direction. Fuck my life."
You're right. Yep, that's right. He's right. The question asker is right. Good
Yeah.
super chat. Send more.
And when you're up high enough, you can still discern a curve from that. It's not that hard. Fog Repair Ship Akashi for $2 says, "I'd like some Caesar for my word salad, please, Flerf." Actually, a vinaigrette goes much better with word salad. I've found out.
And
Rick Hansen
croutons.
for £5 says, when the sun in its reality passes through a portal, where does it end up, and is it in a different reality again?"
No, it's doing a general circle in the sky over the earth,
Through
like a
portals.
circle. Huh?
Through portals.
That was a comment or a word I probably shouldn't have said. What I was trying to
Yeah,
explain
you probably shouldn't, because I
was
haven't
that
been able to
something
let that
holds
go,
the
or that you said the sun went
something
through
holds the
portals.
sun in its position,
Yeah, it's called gravity.
its orbit in the sky.
Yeah, gravity.
Well,
and
I don't think
centrifugal
it's
force.
gravity because
Well, it is.
doesn't
Whether
gravity
you
make
think it
things
is,
fall to the earth?
They are falling to the earth, but they've also got enough centrifugal
But the earth
force.
is falling to the sun because the sun's bigger, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, has more mass.
yeah. And
So
the moon is also falling towards the sun, but it's
everything
it's
in that
gravitationally locked
place.
with the earth.
Everything in
it
that
makes
place
sense.
is free falling.
Joe, let me
Everything.
just make sure that you understand. Your ignorance of physics is not an argument against it.
Well, then help me out, Craig. Tell
Okay,
me what
FG.
is in
Here we go. Can I help you out? FG equals
Yeah.
G M1 M2 over R squared. Understand
That
what
didn't
that
help.
equation
I have a
means.
question.
Well, that's the thing. If you want to know the answers, you need to understand that equation and how it applies to objects in the solar system. And
I don't
why
think I would
you
have a
an
hard
orbit.
time learning that. But the point I'm making is that if gravity is making the Earth orbit the sun and go around the sun, then why do we only observe the sun going over the Earth?
Because we live on
The sun's
Earth.
always in the sky.
We're not in space to observe it any other way. That's why.
That's the point I'm making, is that we live here.
And we then at that point we go, oh well, it looks like this. So how do we test it? Well, we fucking measure it. How do we measure it? We just ask Bob. Thanks, Bob.
Okay.
Lord of Luminous Pooh for $2 to the current Flerf. Do you smell burnt toast?
No, I don't.
I think the rest of us do. J Mike's Movie Nights, $4.99 says, can we get someone in the community to computer map a flat Earth sunset and a normal sunset just to show them how it doesn't match reality? I am currently teaching myself Blender to do exactly that. I'm going to create like to scale 3D models in Blender that I can then import into After Effects to have a look around in real time.
Hey, there's some people that are going to be making a flat Earth with firmaments and everything. Some Wes Blaze. I don't know if you guys
I mean,
are
good
familiar.
luck. It's impossible.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. I don't think it's possible.
No. You know what? Do you know why you can't map the flat Earth?
What?
Any idea? You said that you can't map the flat Earth, and I agree with you. Do you know why you can't map the flat Earth?
Why?
Because the Earth's not fucking
because
flat.
It's a globe.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding,
No,
ding,
see,
ding,
I don't think you can map the globe either. I don't think you can.
Well, you can.
Map...
It's mapped and it's accurate. I can confirm it's accurate because I use the globe to navigate submarines and billion-dollar warships across the oceans.
You used the stars to navigate, didn't you?
If my captain came to me and he went, Mr. McNeil, how did you calculate the fuel that you needed to get us from point A to point B? Well, sir, I looked at the stars. He would have slapped me and thrown me overboard.
How did you do it then? What was it based on if you weren't looking at the stars?
It was based on the known distances according to the globe. You see what the
distances are. How did we find out known distances? By traveling them, right?
We mapped it.
Yeah.
And then we made models.
Yeah, but in order to map it, we had to travel it, right?
Yeah. That's kind of what cartographers did.
That's like how America was, well, rediscovered. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And that's how we kind of mapped things and.
Yeah, and I think we can map a lot of things, but I don't think we can map the Earth in its entirety, if that makes sense.
Well, we can. It's been done. It's no worries. We've done that. Don't worry.
I think it's hard to prove that. I think that's hard to prove.
Hold on.
That, but
yeah, hello.
Well, if you book a flight,
hold on, he's got a call. Hold on.
Yeah, I know. Look, he's pissed off cartographers. He's pissed off construction engineers. I know the entire globe industry is now really annoyed. Wait, I'm getting another call. Hello.
But no, dude.
Maps.
The way of knowing a map
all
works
maps
is that
he's pissed off all maps. Fuck's sake. All right. Okay. I've got another call. Look, I've got a stream I've got to get on with. Okay, I'll let him know. All right. Please stop shouting at me. But so you've now pissed off the entire globe industry and just maps in general.
I'm causing global hell, aren't I?
Absolutely. Truth Merge for €2 says, do microorganisms exist if our eyes can't see them?
Of course. We have optics that we can see them with, right?
But then why not trust the optics that look in the sky?
What do you mean? I do. I have nice telescopes. I take a lot of video of stars and track.
I know
the
excellent
sky.
globe proof.
Yeah.
Guys,
I don't
what's
see
going to
any
happen
proof
in
up
2 years'
the sky
time?
for a
Well, in
globe.
about a year's time, Eftupworld's going to start a pretty good flat Earth debate channel where lots of people are going to come on. And then he's going to take some time off and he's going to give the channel to one of his subscribers to look after for a while. He's going to disappear and then he's going to start a podcast with Team Skeptic. And when he comes back, he's going to be, I saw a photo and it makes me think that the Earth's a globe. And then the channel's going to change from Eftupworld to the name of his friend. Wait, where have I heard that before?
You forgot I'm going to be also mentored by Conspiracy Cats.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, no, Team Skeptic this time. You're gonna start a
Team
with Team
Skeptic.
Skeptic. Yeah. See,
He's
this is
gonna
the
swear
plan.
at me a few times.
This is how it works.
Yeah.
Oh God. Team Skeptic as a mentor. Could you imagine what that's like? I imagine a little bit like this.
And you can't put a fucking I didn't say a doctor. I said a furry, you fucking moron. A furry can put on a fucking mask and fuck each other for hours at a time, and you can't wear a fucking mask for 10 minutes? Scary bitch.
Sorry, guys. That's the part that you would like hush hush.
Thanks, team.
Shut the fuck up, Nathan.
I'm not prepared for that.
I'm not prepared for that.
No.
Lord Illuminous Poof $2 says, as leader of the Illuminati, I take that personally. We've got Adrenochrome Stirper for 5 years. Good job, STST. Get well, FTFE's brain. It's getting there. Still a little bit foggy, but concussion's no joke, guys. Seriously. Wow. Then we've got Mouth Breather for $10. Thank you. Thank God a Flerf that says space is real. World, please explain angular altitude of Polaris or Sigma Octantis, which changes with latitude. I know you can be converted. You're there, right, man. Yeah, so what he's talking about there, Eftupworld,
It's
is
simple.
navigating my
It's
stars,
simple.
because even though from my actual job in the Navy, I wouldn't have used the stars, as part of basic training in the Royal Navy, you do go out and learn to do that basic stuff with sextants and stuff, right? So the question here would be, why, if you were looking at the North Pole, for every 6 to 9 miles you moved away from it, would it drop by 1 degree above the horizon?
The same reason why if you're at a bowling alley and you are throwing a bowling ball, it appears in your view as you throw it, as it goes down towards the pins, it appears to go up towards where the horizon would be, right? The same thing happens in the sky, but the opposite way. So if you're watching a jet or a plane, or you throw a baseball, if you throw the baseball, it's as it is going away from you, it is going to be appearing lower in your view. The further away that it is from you, it's going to be going down, down, down. So that's why if I'm in Minnesota, the Polaris is at 45 degrees. And if I go to Florida, it's going to be a lot lower, closer to the horizon for the same reason.
What
We're
you
further
just
away
said
from it.
is one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever heard.
Craig.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Yeah, he said it better than I could.
So if you're watching at the airport and you're seeing a plane fly, or not at the airport, you're at your house and you see a plane flying in the sky and it's flying at its cruising altitude, and you can verify somehow, like with
sorry,
flight tracker
one
or
second,
whatever.
I just need to respond to someone in chat. Gary Webenenga, shut the fuck up. Sorry, carry on.
If you're standing there and you know the airplane is the same elevation above the earth, or same altitude the whole time, and you watch it as it's above your head, you're looking straight up at it, it's at 90 degrees, and as the jet is flying away from you, it's not getting any closer to the earth, but it is going, the degrees are going down, 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 down till it disappears behind the trees or behind a house, or behind till you can't see it anymore.
Then that rate will match the globe, though, won't it? And not a flat plane.
Yeah, of course. That's why you guys come up with the idea of a radius.
But then the radius would have been tested in other ways. Again.
Well, I'm just saying that anything in the sky is doing that.
Everything you said was wrong. It simply wouldn't work on a flat plane with the angles changing by 1 degree every 6 to 9 miles. It would not be uniform like that. It only maps out appropriately on a globe. It simply does not map out.
Uniform.
No. It does not map out to any flat surface. Any flat surface at all, the angles of the stars in the sky would not, if they are fixed like we see them, would not decrease by 1 degree every 6 to 9 miles. The amount for it to be 1 degree would be more each time. So it'd be 6 to 9 miles, then 78 miles, then 98 miles, then 112 miles for that 1 degree to be the same. Mathematically, it does not work out. Trust me, I've done the math. I've done the math. It does not work out.
You obviously haven't done the observation, though.
What
I'm saying is
observations are nothing without math to back up, because math is where proof lives.
So if I'm in Minnesota, let's do some math.
You want to find proof, you go to Math Street.
Let's do some math
12.
then, Craig. Let me challenge you.
I don't want to do some math right now, thanks.
What's the okay, maybe it's not a good time, but if I was to ask you what was the latitude, we could Google it, what the latitude was in Missouri, in I don't know, whatever place in Missouri. It would be, I'm just taking a guess, but it would be something like 30 degrees or 35 degrees. I'm probably way off, but why would it be different from Minnesota to there? And it's going to work out the same as your 69 miles per degree.
A flat plane would not be uniform like that. If we to assume the star is in the right, because if we are to assume that the North Star is in that position above the North Pole, on a flat plane, for that to fall in the sky by 1 degree would not be 6 to 9 miles every time. If you just went 6 to 9 miles,
why?
and because mathematically it doesn't work out.
How? What are you saying? It's just how the sky is.
For 69, yeah, but for 69 miles, the angle that it falls would not be 1 degree if the Earth was flat, because for it to maintain that 1 degree, you would have to have a greater distance from it each time for it to still be 1 degrees. The only way that it stays being 1 degree for 69 miles is if it's mapped onto a curve looking straight up from the curve. I mean, I can go through the maths with you another time, whether you agree or not. Maths, wait, hold on. Yep, hello. Maths.
Math department.
Okay, I'll let him know. No worries. Sorry, Maths is pissed off for you now. Will you fucking cut it out? Alien X Gaming for £5 says, "What's up, my brother? FTFE, hope all is well. Thank you. I'm getting there. STSE, good evening, sir. And Flerf, I don't know you, but come on, really? Really?
Yep.
Really? Really?
Really? Soluxis for £2 says, "Effed up. Who convinced you that the Earth was flat?"
God.
Oh,
No, really. Who convinced you the Earth was flat?
God
did he tell you?
Yeah,
this
but that would mean
is something that you guys probably will laugh
This
at.
is a whole other debate.
It is a whole different debate, but I do believe that people have been shown something, not everybody, but people have been shown something and told spiritually or supernaturally told to go out and say it. And yes, the world thinks it's dumb.
Wait, sorry,
but that's
calling
my
me now?
testimony.
Hello? Christianity? Dude, you need to join a list, okay? Just, I'll take a number and I'll call you back, all right? Sorry.
Craig ain't going to call him back.
Lord of Luminous Pooh for $2 says, "So this is a conspiracy of cartographers?"
No, I don't think cartographers are doing anything wrong. I think
So the Earth's a globe. Cool. Glad.
No, I think that they're making a lot of assumptions where they have to stitch it together in the end of their cartography zone. If that makes any sense, probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I do get you, but like one thing I always find is people are either lying or they're stupid. If you know what I mean. Most flat earthers go down they're lying.
Yeah, and
so
I'm not.
Really,
yeah.
what you're doing though is basically calling the whole globe stupid.
No, not necessarily. I mean that's kind of harsh putting it that way. I'm saying I'm challenging with a different way to think about it is what I'm trying to do. I believe that there is a different way to see it, and it's almost a choice that we all make which way we're going to see it.
Now, what amazes me, right, especially in America, because, it's the American dream that you can be anything you want to be. And yet the flat earthers there choose to be stupid.
It's a choice. It's a choice.
It really is. Where do we get to? For $5 Australian, Rachel O'Daniels, one of my favorite people, says, "Great to see you. Please take care." Thank you. I am trying. Like I said, I'm still not completely all defuzzed in my head, but I hopefully will be by my debate on Thursday and for finishing my video for Simon Dan on Friday.
This debate here set him back a few days.
Yeah, at least.
Those finger movements. We went, my video for Simon Dan. Right, that was like Dr. Evil.
Dr. Evil.
Parabindu, $5. Guy's a fraud. He says he respects all people. Check out his channel where he ridicules people who don't believe in the Bible in the same way that he does. Is that true? Do you do that?
Do I ridicule? No, I don't ridicule people that don't believe in the Bible.
Maybe I'll have to have it.
I would say
maybe an Eftupworld.
I would say
episode
here's
of
what I would
Flerfs
say.
Idiots.
Here's my harsh way of saying it. That if you're a person that experiences life and doesn't find it to be something unexplainable as far as just reality, I think that you're overlooking a lot of things. That's what I would say. I don't ridicule people on my channel.
Yeah. Baron Von G for $4.99 says, "Can you ask both these gentlemen what was the initial goal of Columbus's voyage?" Seek Truth, Speak Truth. Do you know?
To find out if the Earth was flat. No, really.
Spices.
No. Well, I actually saw that and gave it a quick Google, and I know the answer now, but I didn't before I Googled it. Yeah. What do you think, Eftupworld?
Spices. I have no idea.
Yeah, to find a quicker route to China and India.
Oh, that's right. Yep. I do remember hearing that.
But I'm saying that because I literally just Googled it when I saw the super chat.
And that's why we have India. That's why Indians here are called native. Why are they called Indians?
I don't know.
Like isn't
maybe
that
it's
weird?
because he thought he was in the West Indies. I'm not sure.
I know that's what I read.
Christopher Columbus trying to find a faster way to China. Next thing we know, we've got an orange person as a president. Crazy.
Yep.
Then we got Mouth Breather for $10 says, on a flat Earth, the changes in height would require a physical change in Polaris's position, bowling ball rolling. On a globe, a physical change is not needed to explain that. Now, which makes more sense? He's talking about Polaris.
The flat Earth.
No. I'm not going to do that.
I know I can't say that on your channel without you saying no.
Cinema Control for $5 says the angular speed of the bowling ball decreases as it moves away. Equal distance interval, non-uniform angular displacement. It's just perspective. Those were definitely words, and if I wasn't concussed, I'd probably be able to process what was said. But I'm sure it was in favour of the globe. So good job. Solixis for £2 says, "Can you show me where God said it was flat?"
How about if I showed you? Could I show you where God said it was going to be flat? That he was going to change it to be flat?
Wait, so it didn't used to be?
I'll just say some Bible verses. They can look them up on their own. No, I don't. I think it. I don't think it ever says specifically. Craig. But if you go to Isaiah 40, Isaiah 40 is off the top of my head, verses 3 through 5, and then Luke 3, verses 5 through 6.
Yeah, but God
talks
didn't
about
write the Bible, did he?
Mountains, hills, and valleys being changed to mountains being brought low, and hills being brought low, and valleys being filled up. And
so
that's
just
the glory
like
of God
quote,
being revealed.
I'd like to quote Professor Dave here for a second. A book says a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So then we got.
It says a lot of things.
Jerry Menefee.
It also
for
says
$5.
that at the end of the.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I was just going to say it says at the end that there would be a dragon flying in the sky. Even there is a dragon flying in the sky.
Oh my goodness me! The dragon capsule isn't always flying. Jerry Menefee for $5. Hello FTFE, new night of face palming. Yes, please make sure you bring face palm protection when you attend my streams. And then we got Lord.
Craig, he wasn't
Pooh.
always flying. He got cast out into the earth too. So I think that's just the dragon capsule going up to the ISS. And it gave its power to.
Here's an interesting thing. Bible says Earth's a globe. Try reading it. Lord Luminous Pooh for $5. FTFE, does your dwarf have the soldier background? My Goliath is on Dungeons and Dragons Beyond. Nerf nerding. This guy's a Poe. I don't know what background my dwarf has. I haven't fleshed out the character enough. But if you would like to see me be a nerd, then please go and join my Dungeons and Dragons channel, Globers and Goblins. Excellent name. Right, let me just have a quick look in the chat for any questions for you. We've got Rick Hansen. He says, "Are you a young Earther as well, Eftupworld?"
If that means thinking the world's like something like 6,000 or 7,000 years old, yeah, that's what I think. Probably 6,000 years old.
Okay, no worries.
Craig, you know what? I'm going to send you a special pillow for when we do debates, and it's going to be like a whole recliner that says FTFE, so you can just can't damage yourself. I don't need a body
pillow at this fucking rate, honestly. Let me just see. I don't think there's any more in there that I can see right now. Oh, Steve Wilson says, "Ask Eftupworld when he said the sun goes through a portal. Did he mean a turtle?"
No,
like
I didn't.
This one.
But that is funny.
Do you know what that?
What I meant was there's something. Oh, there you go. What I meant was that there is something holding the sun and moon on their courses.
So this is the world turtle, the great Achuan, with the 4 elephants holding up the disc world. And in this model,
God's on the edge going, yeah!
The sun and moon actually does go underneath the disc, and the elephants have to lift up their legs to allow the sun and the moon to go past.
Do the elephants have to turn the Earth too?
No, it just naturally moves on their back.
Because that turtle back looks slippery.
If you haven't read the Discworld books, guys, they're the best Terry Pratchett was probably the best author that ever lived, in my opinion. Him and Douglas Adams.
Yeah. I need to read them.
Mandevil, question for Eftupworld. What color socks should I wear today? Actually, I don't think I can trust you with that choice. Never mind.
Yeah, wear the red striped socks.
Craven Mordick says, for Eftupworld, how does the moon have an inverted image between the northern and southern hemisphere?
I explained that, actually, and I think STST understood exactly what I meant, right?
He also said
I understood why you were wrong.
Well, if we let me give an example.
Perfect answer.
Okay, so stand on one side of the room and put a dime or nickel or quarter on the ceiling. Tape it up to the ceiling and look at it. Now go to the other side of the room and look at it. It will be upside down. It will be inverted. It's because you are looking the opposite direction at something above you.
But that is with the assumption that the moon is a flat disk. And you can rule that out because if the moon was close and local, like you claim, you should be able to go the other side of the moon and actually physically see a flat disk. Obviously, you think it, by what you claim, would be on the top of a dome. It just, again, wouldn't work. The further away you got from it, the moon would actually physically change shape. It would turn into like an oval in the sky. So
I think I know what you're saying, and I can understand what you're saying, but I don't think that that's the nature of the sky. I think the nature of the sky is completely different.
So we've got just one more super chat, and then I think that's going to be it for tonight. We've got Selixis for £5 says, so you believe a book that has several mistranslations, but not a textbook with testable and verified calculations of spherical Earth?
I do. I believe the Bible, and I believe it to be inspired by God. What?
Which Bible? Which translation? Because they literally say alternate things.
We don't need necessarily a specific translation. We
do, because they literally contradict each other depending on which translation you go with.
Well, of course they do. What do you expect? Yeah. They're written by a bunch of people.
Believe? So not God.
I believe that.
No worries.
Oh.
Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to let both of you have some final thoughts. We're going to let Eftupworld have your final thoughts first. And then we'll let Speak Truth have his final thoughts. So, Eftupworld, just a couple of minutes. Any final thoughts?
All right.
Please remember, I already have concussion.
Guess, again, I want to thank you, Craig. Fight the Flat Earth, Craig. Of course, for allowing us to have this debate on your channel. I thought that was really nice. And also, thank you, Craig from Seek Truth, Speak Truth. It was great to meet you and have a conversation with you. Although we do disagree on many things, that does not mean that we are not human beings and should treat each other with respect and, just be cordial. And other than that, I think I would encourage everyone to pay attention to the Word of God. That's what, first and foremost, I think you can learn more out of there than any science textbook will ever teach you. And they're more important things that you're going to find in there than physical facts about the Earth. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the next world, the world where we go when we die. There's a lot to know about that world in the Bible.
On the ground.
And it's not up to me whether a person believes it or not, but that's my experience, and so that's what I'm sharing.
Okay, just before we go over to, thank you very much for that, Eftupworld, I appreciate it. Before we go over, I'm going to just read the super chat. We've got two more. Baron Von G for $4.99 says, Spice is correct. Columbus knew the Earth was a globe, and he thought sailing west would be quicker than going east over land, because it's a globe. And then we got Parabindu for $5 says, yep, he and his Bible buddies pretty savagely ridicule science, especially astronauts. He's still talking about you ridiculing people on your channel.
I don't actually ridicule astronauts at all. I think that they're doing exactly what they say they're doing.
I might need to look into your channel and see if you have done any ridiculing. Who knows?
Do it.
So
check it out.
Speak Truth, Seek Truth, Speak Truth. Sorry. Thank you very much for coming and debating on the globe side. So that you can have your final thoughts. 2 minutes for you, bud.
Yeah, man. Speak Truth, Seek Truth is a big mouthful, so don't forget, obviously, you can refer to me as STST as well.
Yeah.
But, mate, honestly, thank you so much for allowing me to come on and have a debate on your channel. I feel really, really privileged. and to Eftupworld actually for coming along, mate. It's been a whirlwind, shall we say. I personally didn't really find any evidence that made me question my stance, and I hope that I presented well enough, at least for anyone on the fence, to see that really Eftupworld didn't have anything. I know all I had tonight was words, but the words I spoke, you can look them up, you can observe, you can experiment and try it out yourselves, and it's going to be backed up by facts. I have a new channel actually for anyone that's interested, a history channel called A Part of History. It's getting quite good reviews, even if I do say so myself. So yeah, check that out, please, please, please. And yeah, just thanks both to you guys and everyone in the chat. I know obviously we're usually used to a bit more of a, intense environment, shall we say.
Dumpster fire.
Really, really nice for having me on, and I hope that I can come back someday.
Oh, you're always welcome, my friend. Absolutely, 100%. Thank you both, you guys, for having an interesting, respectful conversation. I don't think I could have dealt with a dumpster fire today with my brain, so I'm happy that it went the way that it did. Thank you everyone that watched, and thank you everyone that super chat and the new members. It means the world and allows me to continue to pump money back into the channel to try and make it as good as I can. I know not everyone's able to support the channel financially. The best way to help out, if you can't do that, is to share what I do on Facebook and Twitter. Massively, massively helps the channel. I'll be back on Thursday with a debate, which is going to be moderated by Johnny O from The Plot Hole. And then you will find a new video from me on Simon Dan's channel on Friday the 21st. Until then, remember that stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the flat.